All right, welcome everybody to Bears Nation Podcast Breakdowns, the first episode of a brand new series for us here on YouTube. I'm your host, Kevin Lapka, alongside my guy, Kellyn Gerenstein, joining us for some Justin Fields breakdown this week. But this is a new series we're going to do. We're going to do multiple episodes of this. We're going to break down tape, whether it's Justin Fields, Bears content from the past few years, whatever it may be. We're here to break it down, and I've got the man of the hour. He's one of the best in the business, works for the Draft Bible. Kellyn, tell us what you're all about, man, and I'm excited for this series, my guy.
Man, the first thing I'm about, and I'm excited too. The first thing I'm about, you know this, I'm about the Bears. I'm about Chicago Bears. But right behind that, we're both Buckeyes. Like we love Justin Fields, and overall we love to break down his film. At least, I love to just go back, kind of even watch his 2019 stuff, even some of his 2018 Georgia stuff. I haven't got clips of that, but some of that stuff is fun to watch. And he's a fun player. Bears fans, in my opinion, we got a really good one.
Yeah, I think we did. And, there's a lot of content to go through with Justin Fields in these past 2 years. I mean, a lot of, 69 total touchdowns. There's highs and lows. You're going to look at the Indiana game as some lows. You're going to look at the Northwestern game as some lows. But obviously more highs than lows. Today, we're going to look at the highs. We're going to take 5 of his best plays from 2019, 2020, break them down. And first, we're going to go to Columbus and Ohio State versus Nebraska here back in 2020. Pretty good game for Justin Fields here. I was at that game. I got to watch him live. Played really well. And we're going to focus on one pass play here, touchdown pass here to Garrett Wilson that Kellyn's going to bring up here. We're going to break this play down, see what Justin Fields was looking at. But here we are. Versus Nebraska. This is one of Justin Fields' better games as a Buckeye, I thought, facing adversity, in a stadium with no fans. It was a different year, but let's take a look at this play specifically, Kellyn. Initially, what do you see here?
So I'm gonna try and annotate here, or maybe not. We'll see. But Nebraska is in quarters coverage, right? So all that means, and some people refer to this as cover 4, right? So this corner is going to have this quarter of the field. This safety is here. This safety is going to be back here, and this one straight away here, right? And Ohio State is running what we call Y cross. So in Y cross, all that means is Chris Olave is going to be straight up the field here. Jeremy Ruckert, I think that's Jeremy Ruckert or Luke Farrell, one of the two. One of this tight end right here is going to be in the flats. Mm-hmm. And this backside tight end, they call it in Ohio State, they call it the spread scheme, right? So in the spread scheme, it's almost the same as Y cross. All that means is that he's going to sit against zone and run against man and just find some space. And the fourth read on this is the backside post. And when I say the fourth read, I mean Justin Fields is literally working left to his right. So Olave on the deep go here in the flats. Here the cross is his third read. And Garrett Wilson on the backside post is going to be his fourth read. So we play the clip, right? Protection holds up. It's fine. He steps right. But when we see here, what most quarterbacks are taught to do when they have this guy out here, this go on the outside, at least from my experience, what you're taught to do is you don't throw that ball unless this corner falls down, unless he falls down, even though there's this space that maybe he can fit it in a whole shot. He's not going to take that. He's just going to work his way here. He sees this corner sitting in the flat, so he works his way here to the crosser. Crosser's covered. Sees this safety is sitting down, a little too low. Wilson runs a good route. Fields crow hops into it, right? We look at his footwork. Everybody always wants to talk about footwork in a quarterback. Nothing's really wrong here. Good base, steps into it. And his release, everyone wants to talk about not everyone, but Dan Orlovsky made a really big deal about his release. I really don't see an issue with it. I mean, if you get the ball out in under a second, like it doesn't, we're not going to nitpick about that. But right. The throw here obviously is going to be excellent, right? This is one of the throws that was on his highlight tape the whole year. It's a perfect shot. He's not lobbing this up. There's not too much air under it. It's right on time, on target, makes the right read, throws a strike. So one of the better plays, in my opinion, from a schematic standpoint, mixed with an accuracy, a recognition standpoint in my opinion, from Fields. We'll take a look at it from the backside here. Like I said, Ohio State's line does a really good job holding up. Goes left to right. See his eyes here. Let's look at his eyes. Eyes here. Mm-hmm. Sees the corner doesn't fall down, right? Works his way to the flat. Sees the corner sticks to the flat. Works his way to the middle, sees this Mike here sitting on, I think that's Ruckert, the tight end, and the ref too. He's not going to throw in, the ref is in the way. steps right, crow hops into it, delivers a strike to Wilson. One of the better plays, like I said, from Fields this season.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, when I watch this play, when I look at back, I see patience and smart decision making, right? Like that's the number one thing you see here is patience. And that's evident when you look at, his reads progression. And that was the conversation for him coming out of the draft, though, was, he can't go past the first read. And why that was the conversation, I'm not sure. But you see here progress through four different reads and he finds the right play. But throughout this whole play, when you watch it full speed, and I was here at this game live watching this full speed, filming this, I thought he is just extremely calm and poised in the pocket. Was the protection great? Yes. But, you don't see him panic. A panic in this situation, tell me what a panic would be, because I feel like a panic would be what you mentioned in the beginning. You saw that cornerback kind of fall down a little bit to the flat route. And I don't remember who it was open. I think, is that Olave that's open there on the left side? A panic is spit it out to Olave right there. For
trying to fit this into this window right here. Exactly.
Right. And, does he maybe complete that if he throws a strike? Maybe, but he waits for the big time play to open up and it's a touchdown. So, not, seeing what's available, but also knowing what could be available at that next read, making the better decision that's encouraging to see, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's one of Fields' best play, and like Kellyn mentioned, you just see that raw arm talent, and he just kind of sits there, flings it right on the dot, leads Wilson perfectly. But let's go to do you have anything more to add about that play?
Nope, absolutely not. I think we got it all.
All right, Saturday night in Columbus. This play, it's a rollout play from Justin Fields. But what are you seeing here that you like out of him?
This one is all about ball placement, all about accuracy, and the fact that he's taking the snap from under center, right? A big knock on quarterbacks in today's NFL and when they come from college is you haven't taken a snap under center. Everything you've done is shotgun, pistol. You haven't taken a snap under center. And in this offense, Justin Fields did that, not a ton, but he did it more than Trevor Lawrence did. He did it more than Zach Wilson did. Probably not as much as Trey Lance, but he did it more than Mac Jones did. So on this play, Chris Olave is going to motion from right to left. Ohio State, just like the last play, is in 12 personnel. 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Olave motions from right to left. Okay, we get a play action here, which is a really, really good thing to see, right? Justin Fields turns, gets the ball out, sticks the ball out, gets his eyes around, right? That's a good thing to see from a rookie quarterback, from a guy who's entering the league. And Ohio State is running what football calls a sail concept. So in the sail concept, Garrett Wilson is going to get inside this defender. And basically this defender is going to forget about him. So Justin Fields' read is going to be Chris Olave, who's on a deep route, just like the last clip we saw. And Wilson is going to come right here to the sideline. Now, Fields very well, because the way Ohio State runs it, it's pretty smooth. Like I said, Wilson gets inside this guy, and then he's going to get over the top and back outside. You can see number 3, this nickelback completely forgets about him. So Wilson's going to get to the sideline now. Now, could Fields have waited a little bit longer and thrown this ball to Wilson as this corner is trying to get right back over the top after Olave beats him? Absolutely. Fields he had time in the pocket. He could have thrown either one. But once again, this throw is all about accuracy, all about ball placement, as we see here. Olave beats this corner, like I said, gets over the top of him. This safety's trying to play both sides, and the ball is right on that outside shoulder. Now, everyone can say, what they want to say about Justin Fields, about, his ability to read defenses, and anyone who nitpicks could have said, he should have thrown this ball to Garrett Wilson. I don't think a lot of people would argue with the result at all, but
right.
there are some people who want to scout and who would say that, hey, like maybe in the NFL, he doesn't complete that ball. I just don't think that's the case. Rutgers obviously is not, a great defensive football team, but they were better this year in 2020 with Greg Schiano as their head coach than they have been in the past. But like I said, not going to argue with that result, not going to argue with that touchdown. Pocket holds up, right? No need to panic. His feet are fine. Once again, steps into it a little bit, gets to the top of the drop, takes a hitch, delivers the ball. Right there. I mean, it's not really much else I can say about that one. That's just perfect ball placement, insane accuracy, and good recognition too. Like I said, Yeah, could he have taken one more hitch step in the pocket after this, right? Instead of winding up here, could have taken one more
Mm-hmm.
hitch, let Wilson get back underneath this corner, taking an easy first down. Absolutely. I don't think anyone would have argued with that. But this is the stuff of NFL quarterbacks. When you watch college QBs, this is the stuff you want to see. The statistics are great, the touchdown numbers are great, but that ball placement, that ability to put it where it needs to be, and a good catch by Olave, but it doesn't get much better than that. And quick note, Trevor Lawrence, I had a higher grade on Trevor Lawrence than Justin Fields, but a lot of people who charted him, and I didn't chart quarterbacks this year. I just kind of did my own grades. But if you go read my post, which I'll plug later, Justin Fields was more accurate than Trevor Lawrence over these last 2 seasons, and was the most accurate quarterback in college football. And you can just see with stuff like this, it's insane.
It is insane. Now, pause it right there. If you pause it when Olave is in the end zone, you can see. Let's see. Right
Can you
there.
see yourself
That's me.
right
That's
here?
me. So hello to me. No, in the white. In the white.
Oh, right
So there
here.
I am. That's me.
Attaboy.
But anyway, there's going to be Bears fans who look at this and say, you know what? In the past, we had Mitch Trubisky and Jay Cutler, and one of the fatal flaws of those two players at times was forcing throws and trying to fit into windows that they couldn't fit into. Specifically Jay more than Mitch, but you always saw those things with Mitch. It was, what is he forcing that for? He's trying to make plays we know he can't make. And I'm sure there's going to be fans watching this video who say, you know what, great throw. And then they're going to bring up maybe an NFL defense makes that play. Maybe they're worried that he's forcing, the ball into this area in this situation when he could have taken the open man and Garrett Wilson underneath. But there's two things to be said about that. Number one, this isn't a tendency for Justin Fields, because if it was, you'd see his interception numbers be a lot higher than what they were. I mean, he threw 7 interceptions in college. And if you negate the Indiana game and the Rutgers, or not the Indiana, the Indiana game and the Northwestern game, I think his total was somewhere like 2 or 3 or 4 or something.
It was 3.
Like
if you,
3.
Yeah,
3.
Yep.
If you negate those 2 games, so those 2 anomalies. But the other thing that I see is confidence too, right? Like this is a total confidence play here. A non-confident player would say, you know what, let's underneath Garrett Wilson. We're going to get us some yards. We're one of the best offenses in college football. We'll get back up to the 10-yard line and we'll score from there, right? But he was willing to take the shot here, willing to take the deep shot. And that in itself, that line of thinking for him is a tendency that I saw from throughout college football. And you saw that in the first clip, right? Wait to find the bigger play. I'm always going to try to make the bigger play. Is that something that is encouraging and should be encouraging more than it should be a fear factor for Bears fans?
I don't think it's a fear factor thing. I think when you look at Mitch, obviously Mitch didn't have the sheer arm talent that Jay Cutler did. But I don't think Jay Cutler didn't hold a locker room like Mitch did. As much as Bears fans like to bag on Mitch, and we like to say that his receivers missed out on a lot because of him, even though those things are true. I mean, Mitch Trubisky is a pretty respectable guy, right? And I think what both of them had in themselves was too much overconfidence, right? I think what Mitch's game was not what it should have been, and that is also a fault of Matt Nagy. But in general, Mitch Trubisky just needed to be a better quarterback. But with Justin Fields, in my opinion, I mean, if this ball is placed anywhere farther, inside, or maybe it's a little bit farther upfield, I mean, that ball's picked off. This is an interception in the end zone, right? And
yes,
I mean, I can't really say anything more. Could Jay Cutler have made this throw in the NFL? Yes, absolutely. He had the arm talent too. Could Mitch? No, probably not. But that's not a throw that you should ask Mitch Trubisky to make. But when you have a guy that you can trust who says, I can put this ball in this window because I have the accuracy to. Whereas I think Jay Cutler's mindset would have been, I'm going to put this ball here because screw it, I can. Because I'm the quarterback, I have the ball in my hand because I can. I think Justin Fields' mindset is in the right place for the right reason. Whereas Jay Cutler's mindset was in the right place for kind of the wrong reason, if that makes any sense.
You're absolutely right. And the thing that you mentioned too is just the confidence. And then when you look at, now let's pair that with the play caller, he can draw up plays like this. Like you weren't seeing plays like this being drawn up because the play caller knew that, the limitations of his quarterback didn't allow him to make throws like this. So you're going to start to see the playbook open up. Obviously, this is a college offense we're watching, and you're going to see a lot of different types of plays, but maybe these sorts of designs where in this situation, Chris Olave is Darnell Mooney, right? And Garrett Wilson's Allen Robinson,
absolutely.
like that exact concept. You're going to start to see those things develop because Matt Nagy knows, as we watch the tape here, Justin Fields can make these types of plays, and he's done a number of times in the past. So
yeah,
good clip. Anything else to add with that?
Real quick, I just think that there's a lot of translation between this Ryan Day offense and Matt Nagy's offense. You see Ryan Day, especially the year went on, like to have Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet on the field at the same time, and Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson paired with them, and obviously David Montgomery in the backfield. That 12 personnel is going to translate great for Justin Fields, whether he operates under center or out of the shotgun. You've seen him do kind of everything in college, which is very, very it should make Bears fans pretty excited about him. But that's all.
This is a Justin Fields touchdown run. Let's break this down here. What are you looking at here as he takes this one in home for a touchdown run?
So first off, with the play design, so you see here, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson are both on the line of scrimmage. So all that means is that Garrett Wilson cannot run a route. He's quote unquote covered. All this does is fill the quota that you need to have 7 people on the line of scrimmage. So that's a big thing for offenses and defenses to know. If the defense can recognize this, they can say, we're going to stay off this guy. All he can do is run a bubble screen, right? So that's exactly what Garrett Wilson does. Garrett Wilson's going to run a bubble screen. And Ohio State's running 4 verts. Anyone who plays Madden, anyone who's ever touched a football game knows what 4 verts is. But Ohio State's going to run it a little different. J.K. Dobbins is going to wheel out of the backfield, and he's going to be the guy going deep along the numbers. KJ Hill is going to come across over the middle, and Chris Olave is going to be on the outside. I'm sorry. KJ Hill is going to be up these hashes, and Luke Farrell is going to come across. And this is another thing where we can talk about Justin Fields' running ability is obviously great on this play, but also his ability to get through an entire full field progression, right? One of my favorite analysts, his name is Jordan Reed, says Fields should probably, in order to make it easier for him, stick to middle field open, middle field close, which all that means is where the safety's at. And those type of reads are a little bit easier to get through because you can kind of cut the field in half, and your timing can be a little bit quicker. You don't have to go through an entire field. Well, Justin Fields, while that may be true, can go through an entire field of regressions, as you see on this play. He's going to work left to right. You see him here pump the bubble, looks left at the same time. Got one-on-one with Olave. That's a far throw, though. I think he can make it, but this is a right hash all the way to what's going to be the back pylon on the left. That's a long throw. He's not going to take it. This safety, KJ Hill, is bracketed by this safety and this inside or this nickel back. And there's obviously Farrell's going to come over the middle. Is he open for a second? Maybe. But we're in the red zone now. Situational football is a very important thing. My high school coach used to say the football is so important that they named the game after it. So don't turn it over. Make sure you hang on to it. So we're in the red zone. We got to get points. 1st and 10. And this is just one, like I said, it's pure athleticism along with going through a full field of progressions. But he sees it open up, pumps, takes a couple hitches, sees it open up, and he's fast enough. He's athletic enough. He's twitchy enough to get it done. There's another play in this Nebraska game that I think is better representative of his sheer running ability, which we might go over another time. But this one is just, I like it because it shows how smart he is, how he can, do what people say he can't. Oh, he can't go through a full field of progressions. He can't do this. He's a one-read quarterback. It's all kind of nonsense. You got to watch the tape. You got to understand what the offense is going to look like. And it's kind of a funky formation, right? We've got 4 wide receivers to the left. This tight end is off the line, and J.K. Dobbins is going to run a route as if he's this receiver over here on the right, which is the Z receiver. But this linebacker is asked to spy Justin Fields, or he's in zone, or he's trying to bracket Luke Farrell here. Nobody really knows what he's trying to do. But lo and behold, Justin Fields makes him miss. And I don't think a Zach Wilson, as athletic as Zach Wilson is, I don't know if he makes this play a touchdown. I think a Zach Wilson is going to slide at 5-6 yard line, which is right. I'm not trying to bag on Zach Wilson. That's okay to do. But I'm always going to prop my guy up. I'm going to Justin Fields scores this touchdown. Does Trevor Lawrence? Maybe. Does Trey Lance? Yeah, probably. But like you said, Kev, I think Justin Fields is in that. I think Lamar Jackson is in a tier by himself when it comes to running quarterbacks, when we
Yes,
talk about ability.
easily.
But when you get to that next tier, you talk about the Kyler Murrays, the Josh Allens. I think Justin Fields is right in the mix of that tier. So, yeah.
And that's the thing you notice too, as you talk about, the progression is that this isn't, again, like his mindset here isn't run first. If you give him that much green grass, any quarterback, whether they have running ability or not, should take that lane and run. Like that's not him just saying, because like you said, there's going to be people who are going to watch this and say, well, Farrell's wide open, or not wide open, but if he makes a good ball, that's probably a touchdown to Farrell. Even you look at KJ Hill, you throw that little, what's he running, that little, kind of looks like he's going into a corner there. But that streak, like you might be able to put a good ball to him, but you're given that much open space. Like any quarterback will run, but not every quarterback will take that in for a touchdown.
Right.
Like you mentioned, in the other quarterbacks will take that and they'll either get tackled by the linebacker or slide down. So you see his athleticism, his running ability there. And I'm just glad we're highlighting it because it's like the pocket is going to break down. It's going to break down a lot more than what you saw at Ohio State. Like he got phenomenal protection. Like if you look at this play, even like the protection is phenomenal. He's able to move up into the pocket and then there's just a ginormous lane there for him to run through. It's going to break down more than it did at Ohio State. And we're going to have to start to see Justin Fields improvise. And what can he do outside of the pocket? And that's where you're going to start to see, okay, once the pocket breaks down, he rolls out, then what does he do? Then does he wait for somebody to get open or then does he run first? But it's like you have that threat of both. And just kind of describe, Kellyn, what that does to a defense, having to acknowledge that your quarterback at times can basically act as a running back. And then you're basically matched up like 11 on 11 with the defense because at times your quarterback is literally a running back. So
absolutely. Yeah.
What does that do?
I love the word you said when you said 11 on 11. In the past, defenses they've been playing 11 on 10, right? Because that quarterback is not really hasn't been a threat, for so long. And it works, right, for guys like Tom Brady, for the Peyton Mannings, for the Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, of the world. But with this, I mean, you just see it on this play, right? The respect that this guy has to give to Justin Fields. I mean, you already see these two players right here. They see Fields breaking. They're too late, but you have to respect it, right? He's this field, the wide side of the field, what they call it, the field side of the field. There's so much space. If you give that to him, he's going to take it all day long, and as he should. And that guy, number 7, that linebacker, is just not athletic enough to make that play. And this is a thing that defenses are going to have to game plan against. If you say we cannot play man coverage against this guy because our linebacker is not athletic enough to spy him, or simply because the way we run our man coverage, he's just going to kill us with his legs. That is a big thing going into a game plan for a defensive coordinator, to say, we're going to sit back and we're going to sit in zone because we have to make him beat us with his arm. With a guy like Justin Fields, obviously we've shown you what he can do with his arm, but regardless, for a defensive coordinator to have to sit up and be like, dang, can I run cover 0? Can I run cover 1 Robert? Can I run cover 1 spy? Can I run 2-man under? For him to sit and contemplate that in a film room, to watch Justin Fields make these plays, yeah, that's gonna be a long week for that guy. That's gonna be a tough install for the defense that week. That's gonna be a tough thing to game plan against, and even tougher to actually play against on the field. As you can see, making a tackle on number 1 is not an easy thing to do.
You kind of too, before going on the next step, you saw that in Matt Nagy's offense. One of the things that people like to bring up the most was, when that offense was having the most success was when he was getting Mitch Trubisky out of the pocket and allowing him to run a little bit. And then defenses had to acknowledge that. And then it was evident that started to open things up. So now, like, I'm going to keep relating this to that Matt Nagy offense and the limitations that we saw in the past and what can be opened up now. Like, he can do so many different things, and he can kind of toy with the defense now, knowing that he has this, dual threat quarterback who just, is a key to unlock a whole box of plays that Matt Nagy has wanted to run in his arsenal, but simply hasn't been able to. So let's go to another running play here. We have another one, I think, right against Wisconsin 2019. This one, I think this one was a read option, but same situation here. They're in the red zone. This one more of a designed run, I believe, right? So let's break down what we saw here against Wisconsin 2019. Same type of deal, though, running touchdown in the red zone.
Okay, so Wisconsin this entire game had been running this three-man front in a 3-4 defense, essentially, where exactly what you see: three down linemen and four linebackers, one who's out here on the screen right now. And this is what they call zone bash. And all bash means is that we're going to run our regular run play, but the responsibilities of the quarterback and the running back when they get the ball are going to be different. So for a typical, I'll run through the play here. For a typical zone read, this running back is going to be on the right. J.K. Dobbins is going to be on Justin Fields' right side, and he's going to be running the zone play here. He's going to be following the zone blocking. And if this linebacker takes the running back, Justin Fields is going to replace that defensive end. He's going to, he's just going to replace the defensive end. He's going to run to the backside. On bash, they stands for backside sweep. So the zone run is going to the left side of the line, and backside sweep is going to be J.K. Dobbins' responsibility, who, if he gets the ball here, is going to sprint to the outside. He's going to run a sweep. Justin Fields is reading this defensive end, and this defensive end sits. He staggers here. Fields sees that, pulls the ball. Now he's going to run zone to the left side. Now, again, we gotta cover our nitpickers. Is the hole there? Yes, absolutely. Justin Fields ran through, a giant hole in the defense. But again, David Montgomery is a good running back. The defenses are going to have to respect David Montgomery, even though he's not a burner. They're going to have to respect him at any point of the field because it's so easy for him to make you miss. David Montgomery almost never lets the first guy to touch him bring him down. So with that, like you said, you have to play 11 on 11. With this, you have an extra hat in the box now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys to block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys here in the box. Well, with these two now, instead of, Justin Fields is going to hand the ball off to J.K. Dobbins and these 6 guys have to block 6 guys. That's not the case anymore because Justin Fields is a runner. What they're doing is they are taking one man out of the play because all you have to do is make him wrong. And that's exactly what Justin Fields does. He sits, and now you've got 4 guys blocking 3 or 4, whatever one you want to say. But you've got 4 on 4. You should win that. You've got, as long as you're not blocking 4 on 5, 5 on 6, 6 on 7, you got 4 on 4 with a Justin Fields and a J.K. Dobbins or a Justin Fields and a David Montgomery. That's a matchup you're going to win. Even if the Bears' offensive line is not going to be as dominant as an Ohio State against the competition they were playing against, as long as those guys are creating those gaps, as long as they're hitting those gaps, all you got to do is wait out that zone play, right? Wait out that zone scheme, right? And we saw it a lot with Ohio State. They love to run zone because J.K. Dobbins was so good at it, and Master Teague and Trey Sermon were getting the hang of it at the end of the 2020. But you see it here, man. I mean, that's a running back. I mean, that's a running back. That's a forceful runner. And, is he going to be as shifty as David Montgomery? No. But like I said, what that does to a defense is it takes a guy out of the box. It takes a guy out of the play, essentially. So now you can, here we're 4 on 4, right? These 4 on the backside versus these 4 linebackers, and Justin Fields has to make the safety miss. But you do that, like I said, you're going to win. You're going to win every time with when you have athletes.
You are. And one thing that's important to watch, what he does really well is how long he holds that read to Dobbins and how long he holds the ball. You'll see quarterbacks oftentimes, real quickly, they'll do it and they'll pull it back quickly. And what does that do? Well, you see number 57 and 97, if they're smart football players and they studied their film and you let go that quickly, that gives 57 or 97 even just a half a second to understand what's going on. Oh, read option. Okay, he gets over there, blows up the play behind the line of scrimmage. So that's like one of the number one things, right? When we talk about running the read option is how deep you hold the ball to the running back, obviously without air to the point where the running back doesn't take the ball away from you. But, it's oftentimes, like I think we saw this with Mitch a lot too, is he wouldn't hold it that deep. And the defense immediately would recognize, and the read option was never successful for the Bears in the past 4 years.
Yeah. And Mitch was an athlete, right? Mitch was a very athletic quarterback.
Yes.
Justin's on a different level. Fields is just on a different level of athleticism, on an ability to carry the ball, and he's a bigger body. He's faster. He's a little bit more twitchy, more shifty. I mean, you can do so many things in an offense with this. And I said this is a staple of Chip Kelly. of the way Chip Kelly used to run the spread. Ryan Day is a direct descendant of Chip Kelly, and you better believe that Matt Nagy is Matt Nagy is obviously an Andy Reid descendant. That's two different coaching trees, but can Matt Nagy adapt his offense to make Justin Fields play in it as efficiently as possible? Yes. You see it all the time with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, they run counter bash a little bit more than they do zone bash, but the idea is the same. Lamar Jackson is going to run the ball in a way that the NFL defenses haven't seen, because he's a player that the NFL hasn't seen before. Justin Fields, while his skill set may be translatable to a Kyler Murray, to a Dak Prescott, to a Josh Allen, all who are successful in their own right. I mean, I think that coming out of college, he's a bit more polished passer than all of those guys. And while Murray might have been a better runner, I mean, Justin is still the same kind of athlete, just in a bigger body.
You're absolutely right. And I'm just watching this play back, and each time I'm like, the athleticism is just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about athleticism, and in the NFL, in today's NFL, when every single player is getting faster every single year, just with the types of training techniques we have nowadays, just what players are able to do to get more athletic, it's more important than ever to have a player who possesses extreme, unique athletic abilities. Like I've always, that's why I was so against, if the Bears took Mac Jones, I'd be sitting here probably still crying to this day. I don't care if he's a great pocket passer. You need athletes in this day and age of football. Is Tom Brady kind of the guy who disproves that theory? Yes, but Tom Brady's going to be out of the league in a few years, and you're going to start to see the Josh Allens, Lamar Jacksons, Kyler Murray's, Russell Wilson's of the world take over as this new era of mobile athletic quarterbacks. And that's what you have. So Justin Fields for the next 10 years might lead that charge and lead that theory for quarterbacks in the NFL, that athleticism is supreme and can really just take your team to new heights. So
yeah. And one more thing before we move on. This is a really good play by number 97. This is a really good job to kind of sit and enforce this decision.
Yeah.
And this is a good job of him getting down the line, squeezing this line of scrimmage as soon as Fields pulls it. But there's a certain amount of burst that he has that guy's not going to get a hand on him. On a different quarterback, not on a Lamar Jackson, not on a Kyler Murray, but on a guy who doesn't have as much burst as a Justin Fields, guys who can carry the ball, like I said earlier, as Zach Wilson, there's not enough burst to make this an untouched touchdown, if that makes sense.
And even you look at the safety 25, like he bites on that read option too, but he gets there pretty quickly, but it's not quick enough. It's not quick enough. And like you said, just 1/10 of a second slower, 25 is there to blow up the play. Yeah, they probably still end up scoring anyway, but you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just that speed there. It's fine defensively, but just too fast. Let's go to our final play here of this first video.
Field at this sideline. I think the Bears have a couple of them, in general, but and just to go through the mindset on this throw, Ohio State's running a drive concept where all that means is that this slot receiver, who is KJ Hill, is going to run about a 12-yard dig over the middle of the field, and this tight end is going to come run a drag underneath, and Fields is going to read this middle field player. But pre-snap, Justin Fields sees this field corner have his leverage toward the inside, which means that Victor can either get inside and get back out, or he can stack over the backside of him and get back to the outside. So this corner is playing bail coverage, has this leverage to the inside. Fields knows there's no way that he can make this play to get back over the top of or to get underneath this out route. Steps in, delivers a great ball. And one thing I want to highlight here is his mechanics, actually, because a lot of times in what you'll see in the next quarterback cycle, especially in 2022 with guys like Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, Malik Willis, their lower bodies, their mechanics are not on the level of a Justin Fields or a Trevor Lawrence. They're just, a lot of guys have happy feet now. And Patrick Mahomes does it, but Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, so no one really says anything. But with this is perfect delivery. This is perfect time to get back to the drop. Gets to the top of his drop in 3 steps, no hitch, plants the back foot. He doesn't overstride right here. That's teaching tape base right here. That elbow isn't too high. It's not too low. The ball's coming out. His left arm is at that shoulder or is at his chest and is coming across. He's ripping his lower body across, and you see that this leg has a little kick to it. Sometimes you want to keep it on the ground, but it's not kicking high. It's not kicking at his hip. He's not off kilter. His base is straight up and down. You see his chest, his helmet is right over his leg.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
teaching tape mechanics right here. And his right hip doesn't get too far extended either. That's teaching tape mechanics. And that's why you get a perfectly accurate ball, a perfectly placed ball here. So once again, this one not as flashy as the touchdowns that we saw against Nebraska and Rutgers, but just a beautiful throw in, quite frankly, a play that disproves that Justin Fields' mechanics, Justin Fields' delivery is incorrect or whatever people have been saying. I don't know. But for this one, for me, great job understanding cornerback leverage, great job understanding this read. And this is also evident of a coach trusting a player, right? This if he doesn't make this throw, Coach Day is saying, hey, you've got a pocket, right? You've got a clean pocket. You've got time to make this throw over the middle. KJ Hill's gonna break open because this linebacker is gonna be stuck on this tight end. That's an easy throw over the middle, not as deep. But this is a play where a coach says, I know you can make this throw. If you see it, you like it, take it. And that's exactly what he does. And it's a first down. Like I said, I don't know if people understand how hard, how long, how much power this throw takes to put it exactly where he did.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yep.
Dude, lined up at the right hash here, like across the field. This is a throw you won't see often. I mean, this is a throw you won't see NFL quarterbacks make because they're not. It's partially a smart thing because you don't want to necessarily throw across the field. But if a guy's that open, you're going to have to do it. But like you mentioned, to have the arm strength, like if you pause it right when he goes to the sideline, the overall distance of that throw is a lot farther than what it appears to be, which is 19 yards or something.
Yeah.
The overall distance of that throw is a lot farther. And like you mentioned, to go across field and to get over the linebacker and to put it right so that Victor's catching it right before he gets out of bounds. It does not get any better than that. And the reason why we had to bring that up is because, like you mentioned, people are going to watch and say, why are you highlighting a play where a guy's wide open and the cornerback bails out and is eventually 10 yards away from the receiver? Well, because there's a lot of quarterbacks who, if a guy is that open, will just miss the throw. We'll overthrow him. We'll throw it out of bounds. And we've seen that in the past in Bears football where a guy is wide open. And okay, schematically, it's great. Awesome. But the quarterback didn't make the throw. So, you throw it away. So extremely encouraging stuff. I don't know why the cornerback is leveraged that way. I mean, he must be concerned about KJ Hill, but why? Why is he leveraged that? I don't get it because it doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know, man. This was Justin Fields' third start of 2019, and I guess the jury wasn't out that he was as good as he was. I don't know, but I mean, and you said it, Kevin. Like a bad throw in this is either an underthrow where this ball either gets tipped or picked off by this guy right here, or this guy has to slide and make a catch, or it's an overthrow that sails over the top of the receiver. Because if you don't have the arm strength to drive the football, to not put as much arc on the ball, and if you want to see it, Trey Lance does it really well also. But a guy with arm strength, with arm talent, with that can, like I said, can drive the football, that ball is going to have the arc that it does, where it can get over this guy and still drive exactly to the outside shoulder of this receiver. If a Mitch Trubisky overthrows his ball, because he doesn't have the arm strength to drive it, because he doesn't have the arm strength to put it over this guy and underneath this corner in between the sideline. He didn't have it. And that's not to bag on Mitch. That's just to say that Justin Fields is a different type of guy.
Exactly. He's a different breed. And this was, five examples of five totally different things that he can do. We looked at what he can do from an arm strength standpoint. We looked at what he can do from a decision-making, read progression standpoint. We looked at his running ability. We looked at his accuracy. It's in just 5 clips, you saw, 5 different tools that he possesses. And that's what's so exciting is, you could look at clips of Mac Jones, right? Or you can look at clips, Trevor Lawrence is a guy where you could find, the same thing. But a lot of these guys only have some of these tools, and, not all of them have all of these instincts and all of this athleticism. And I know it seems like we're kind of hyping him up too much here, but it's real when you look at the tape here and you see everything he possesses and what he can bring to the Bears in 2021. Like it's all there, and that's why I think he should start week 1. That's why I think he's going to be a dominant quarterback in this league for a very, very long time. So all this smoke that people are saying from other fan bases, because I know, Kellyn, we're caught up in the Bears fan base where everybody has obviously been excited. And there's people saying, slow the roll a little bit. Guy hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet. But you watch this and it's hard not to get ahead of yourself thinking about what he could be in the future.
Yeah. And NFL hashes are thinner. The space in between these hashes in the NFL is going to be thinner. So it's not like Justin, this throw doesn't translate to the NFL. This is something that you cannot teach. This is something that you cannot coach. Like I said, the mechanics are there. The ball placement is there. Justin Fields' issues that we didn't highlight in these clips are going to be there, but they are all fixable. They're all coachable. They're all something that you can fix in a film room or anything like that through one-on-one coaching. It's all going to be there. All the tools are there, and dude, I'm right there with you. I don't see why he shouldn't. As soon as camp starts with all the first teamers there, with Allen Robinson, with Darnell Mooney, and all the other receivers who are going to compete with that starting offensive line, I don't see why he shouldn't get those reps. Maybe not all of them. There should be a battle. The better guy should win. If Andy Dalton is just better in camp, then yeah, sure, maybe he should start. But I just don't know if that's realistic at this point. I mean, I really think Justin Fields is as good, if not better, than Andy Dalton is, and gives this franchise some life that they desperately need.
I think you're right. I mean, you're going to start to see these players. We're going to start to be breaking down training camp film of him doing these things against an NFL defense, against NFL level players, elite NFL level players like Roquan Smith, like Eddie Jackson and Khalil Mack, with that kind of pressure facing him. And if you start to see him doing these types of things against that NFL level defense, then, and you compare it to Andy Dalton, the coach will have, it'll be out of his hands. He'll say, look at the tape. This is what we have. This is our guy starting week 1. So, all right, man. So episode 1 of this series has been completed. We're going to do, I don't know. We're just going to do this whenever we can, man, because this is really exciting stuff. And Kellyn's one of the best in the game at breaking this stuff down. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out Bears Nation Podcast, all platforms. And you can check out Kellyn at the Draft Bible. Just became a regional scout for them.
Yes,
and you also have your own blog as well. Plug that for us.
I do. I have the KG Draft blog. It's on blogger.com. Almost all of these clips that we just that we just showed are in my breakdown on Justin Fields and how he fits with the Bears, but it was much better to talk through him than it is to read through him. Sometimes it's hard to read through football. I think a lot of football learners are visual or verbal learners. So go check that out. Go check out Kevin's podcast. Go check out Bears Nation Podcast. Follow them on Twitter. We'll be back with some more.
Well, come on.
Yes, sir. We will. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time.